Hi, I'm Aubrey.
Hi, I'm Kathleen. We're two friends having a good time.
I happen to be a Christian, and that's okay.
And I happen to be an atheist, and that's okay.
Welcome to the Christian and the Atheist podcast.
Let's dive in.
Hey guys, have you left a review for our podcast yet? Head over to wherever you listen to your podcast and do that right now. I mean, not right now, but soon.
And follow us on Instagram and Facebook at The Christian and the Atheist, and TikTok at Christian and Atheist.
Did you know that the Christian and the Atheist podcast is on Patreon?
When you join our Patreon community, you can get ad-free episodes and access to video chat with us once a month for 10 minutes to talk about episode topics and more.
Head on over to patreon.com/Christian and Atheist to sign up now. Coming up on the Christian and the Atheist podcast.
My main focus is to help those that have been through religious trauma or conversion therapy. But I still believe that every spiritual belief system has something to give to society.
Give us an insight into what it is to be a drag queen.
I do feel Alistair is another persona of myself.
Right.
Ah.
It's not just Nathaniel. It's
right.
She was what was locked in the closet for so long.
Yeah.
Are drag queens transgender?
There's got to be more, to life than what I was only taught in Christianity, evangelical Christianity. That song actually stopped me from one of my suicide attempts.
Welcome, guys. We are so excited to be here today, and we are so excited today we have a special guest. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Well, yes, Alistair Oblufia Terrell, and I'm also known as Nathaniel, birth name. And I'm a local drag queen in Tulsa, Oklahoma,
Woohoo!
and abroad. Yeah, so that's my main thing. And then, of course, I have a day job, but, my main focus is to help those that have been through religious trauma or conversion therapy.
Oh,
So you went through conversion therapy?
Yeah. See, what happened is I was a pastor, and
What?
I was a pastor for 10 years.
I'm so excited you're on the show.
I know.
So you were a pastor? Do you?
Yeah, and so around 23, when I was at the last church I pastored at, me and the college and career pastor, he was working at the college or minister, whatever you want to, label him as. He was over the college and career ministry at the college nearby.
Sure.
So we worked a lot together, and then of course that turned in
blossomed.
That's right. It turned into a beautiful romance. But we were, of course, an evangelical part of society, and also that's how we were raised. Or I was raised. He was raised to be himself, and
oh, nice.
And then he went into some troubles with his biological dad that really wouldn't accept who he was. So he had to get through those moments and get through those trials. And finally, his biological dad did accept that who he was. But then he still, was figuring things out himself, per se, because we were being taught this says in the Bible this, and but your feelings and emotions says otherwise. And then you're taught to be numb to your emotions,
Yep.
Yeah.
and then to deny who you are. And that's right. That's where a lot of the depression comes in,
Yeah.
because
I can imagine.
you're telling yourself, no, I can't be that, There's another I'll send this to you. It's not a documentary. It's more, I guess you can kind of say it's a documentary. His name is Bradley Eder. He's actually a good friend of mine.
Okay.
He does a awesome illustration. That's what he really does, is a lot of illustrations, but illustration of how you would, when you go through a lot of stuff we in the LGBTQ plus community go through in the church, how you basically deny a part of yourself and tell a part of yourself to be in the closet and shut up, Don't listen to that emotion. That guy just walked past you in the gym, but you can't admire him or think he's handsome or anything like that. So a lot of bullshit.
Yeah.
I hope I can say that on here.
Yes,
Okay,
you
good.
can.
So, it's
a lot of chalet.
Oh, I like that.
That's how you say shit in Hebrew.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah. Because once I went through conversion therapy, and I went through that part of my life where that was, I basically knew what they wanted to hear. So I said what they wanted to hear so I can get through it very quickly.
Wow.
They take you on a retreat, and
Sounds
How old
nice,
were you?
but it's not nice.
I was 23 at that time.
That's so young.
Did you pick to go?
I did, but it was more of manipulated into
for
it because,
sure.
they're telling you you're going to hell. They're telling you you're going to bash me all they want on that. But I have been to a Buddhist temple. I have been to a Hindu temple. I have been to many different beliefs. And it's beautiful how peaceful they are, how loving they are, how accepting they are, how they accept other belief systems. And so, but it's just the fact that, evangelical Christianity wants to be dominant, and you will find pretty much 95% of evangelical Christians as narcissists. And it's
interesting. I will say I'm gonna have to interrupt just for a second because not in a rude way.
No, you're fine.
Okay, but then there's people like me who anyways.
I consider myself more spiritualist. I am.
Yeah.
My beliefs lie more with Celtic shamanism and Celtic, beliefs, like as a witchcraft, stuff of that nature.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Energies, crystals, stuff of that.
Yeah.
Actually studying under a high priestess to be a priest. So it's just like that is where I lie, but I still believe that every spiritual belief system has something to give to society.
Yes.
But if your belief system starts to try and dominate other belief systems, then that's where the problem is. You need to live in peace with one another. Like one of my shamans told me as I was being mentored, there are many spiritual paths on this big, huge mountain, and you have to choose what's best for you. None of them are wrong. It's what's best for you. What brings you peace and what also helps you be a functioning human in society.
Yeah, I love that.
Basically, we wanted the thing to be our podcast episode with you in it to be kind of like give us an insight into what it is to be a drag queen.
Oh, yeah.
But you clearly are like full of all kinds of things. So whatever comes of this, we're just going to let it flow.
Thrilled. First thing first, just right off the top, what are your pronouns? What is the best way to address you?
Anything. No, I was kidding. No, I do see myself as a non-binary individual.
Okay,
because,
cool.
So it's he, him, she, her, they, them. Okay. And because of that, it's because I do feel Alistair is another persona of myself.
Right.
Uh-huh.
It's not just Nathaniel. It's
right.
She was what was locked in the closet for so long.
Yeah.
And so she came out.
I do
and so
too.
we're now a team.
Of course.
Yeah.
And people will definitely tell you when I'm in Alistair mode, I'm a totally different individual.
I love that though. Yes.
That's really fun.
So that's where I lie. In fact, a lot of drag queens do consider themselves non-binary.
Okay.
And some are actually transitioning because they feel that that's more of who they are as their,
Right.
So that kind of leads into our next question,
Yes.
which is, are drag queens transgender?
Not all of us. There are some because, like I said, they have felt basically drag helped them figure out who they truly are.
Right.
And so, yes, some of them are. There's quite a few amazing drag queens locally, even like London D. Rain. She's a drag queen locally, and yes, she is transsexual, and she is beautiful and gorgeous and a sweetheart. But then, of course, you have some that aren't. We're more feminine, more male, feminine.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of us more lie with non-binary. Some of us don't. Some of us are. Some of the queens do consider themselves male, but they're just real feminine, or something like that.
Awesome.
Thank you for that answer because that's really informative. I feel like.
Well, and we feel that we sort of already knew the answer to that question, but we figured there's probably out there people who don't.
Yeah.
So
and you can't just label one thing.
Everybody's
to
different.
Everybody,
of course.
Yep, everyone's different.
Yep. Okay, so what made you decide to become a drag queen, and how did you choose your name?
Okay, so 2018 is when I came out, and in fact, August 28th of 2018. And so I first went to my first gay bar that weekend. It was like a Thursday, I think, or a Wednesday. It's the 28th that year. But anyway, that weekend, regardless of what it, 28th was, I went to this, first bar, gay bar I've ever been to, first bar period. Besides it being attached to, like a, bar and grill and bar.
Right,
whatever.
right.
But it was like
This is
a
the
real
Chili's
bar
now.
Yeah. So I went to my first bar that weekend, and it was like a culture shock.
It's
I'm
insane.
like, all these guys are so cute.
Oh.
But you were like
So I
living
felt-
that freely versus being like,
I felt honestly kind of like, like that guy in the corner at the prom with two drinks
Yep.
and he has no date or she has no date and they're just in the
Right.
corner just whatever, that's kind of how I felt, because it was just such a culture shock. So, a drag queen actually came to me. She had entered the building. Chanel Sterling is actually her name. And she is majestic. And she said, "You must be new here." Because, you could probably tell.
You looked at
110% I was new.
That's fun.
So I was like, yeah. And she says, "Tell me your story, honey." So I told her a brief, story. And she's, wiping away tears. And then she said a drink's on her. She got me another drink. So I had 3 drinks that night. And I was already kind of woo with the 2.
Yeah.
And then the third, I went in and so she popped open her fan and, she closed her fan, and she hit me in the ass with it and said, "No, you can see that cute guy over there. Now you go have fun and dance." And so then I got to see her perform that night. And it was over for that, because I'm like, that's what I want to do. Because I've always been an entertainer of some sort in my life.
Okay,
I was a professional clown for so many years.
Ooh.
Until that big clown thing happened, and then the clown business went downhill from there.
I can see that. I can see that.
And
movie?
So,
What clown thing happened?
No, there was people dressing up like clowns.
Remember? Like showing
Killing-
up on, like standing in the middle of a street in the middle of the night, and
then there's,
everyone's like,
Run.
Yeah.
yes.
And then the videos.
Like, yes. Remember
It's
that?
pretty
That was
sketchy.
so funny.
Mm-hmm.
It was
so
sketchy.
crazy.
Okay, so that
So-
interfered with that business?
Yeah, I did. So, but
I
I
can imagine.
But like I said,
They were scary.
For most of that, they did dress scary.
They
For
were
most of it, I was, a minister of some sorts. Like
Right.
after I left conversion therapy, I went into being Jewish because on my mom's side we are Jewish.
Okay.
So I studied that part of my life and thinking,
Yeah.
okay, well, this might be the path because Judaism always kind of sought out to me per se,
Okay.
and the mysticism of Judaism, and that's kind of what started my magical path is studying Kabbalah and Judaism. So anyway, so I started that. So that's why I know a lot of Hebrew or some Hebrew, like Chalet, But yeah, so that's where that side of my life came into existence, where I started like, okay, there's got to be more, to life than what I was only taught in Christianity, evangelical Christianity, and there's no wrong way.
Yeah.
It's whatever's right for you.
Yeah,
I agree.
Unless you're doing harm to others,
Right.
It's right. If you're doing harm to others, then it's
There's a
wrong.
problem.
And you
Exactly.
need to recheck yourself.
Exactly.
If you're protesting at a pride parade, you're in the wrong belief system. And majority of those protesting are probably screaming on the inside, wishing they can be on the other side, to be honest.
Yep.
Because, when I was in the parade, the past 2 times I was in the parade, I was like, yep, you're gay, and you're gay, and you're bi. And because you could tell. You could just tell. The louder they scream, the louder inside they're hurting. Because that's how I was, when I was a minister.
Okay.
I was probably a big bully because when I would preach on that subject, or when I would preach on any subject of that matter, I would be kind of hostile because that's how I was taught to be.
Oh,
Right.
yeah.
Basically, you deny yourself, you hate yourself, and that hatred comes forth to those that are like you,
Right.
that
Yeah.
are expressing themselves and are true to themselves and are being themselves. But that jealousy resides in you and anger and hatred because you're like, I wish I could be that free.
Right.
Turns into a resentment.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and so you start lashing out.
Right.
And that's why so many, you see those, like I said, the louder they scream, a few months later, they get found on Grindr or they get found on some other dating app that's trying to be secretive and they get outed, It's just, it's sad that people are taught that. And it's sad that conversion therapy is still legal.
Yeah.
We're
Didn't it become illegal in certain states?
Yeah,
recently?
certain states, yes, have made it illegal,
Yeah, which-
thankfully.
It's a state-to-state issue.
Yeah. In fact, we're trying to do that for this state.
Okay.
It's fantastic.
As far as your name went, could you
Okay,
tell us
yes.
about
Okay,
that?
so I started drag in 2019. I don't know how we got on that bunny
No,
trail.
it's
It's
good.
great.
I
It's
love
So I
it.
started drag in 2019 because I came out in 2018. So 2019 is when I started drag. First performance I ever did was at the Witches Ball.
Fun.
They do have, and we're having one this year. Me and my drag mom and my drag aunt were the headliners of the Witches Ball this year. We're the Sanderson sisters. So you'll definitely need to come to that.
So
But
fun.
yes.
Oh, I already have a dress in mind.
Exactly.
I can
So
go there. I could do
So
this.
anyways, it was my first performance and it was it built up. I had awesome individuals that kind of helped me along the way to get there.
Yeah.
And once I got to where I was on the stage, I was like, okay, this is it. This is where
Nice.
I
This is
feel
what you
very
love.
comfortable. So I just grew from there, And then in
Awesome.
2020, that's when I became, January of 2020, actually, is when I became a part of the Terrell family.
Mm-hmm.
Sasha Terrell is my drag mother, and she took me under her wing and showed me tips that I was not, didn't know of, and showed me better makeup techniques and how to do my face more feminine and stuff like that. So it just went on from there. And then I became her
Amazing.
drag daughter, and then the rest is history, herstory, as they say.
I love that.
Yeah.
So Alistair.
Alistair is Gaelic, and it actually means defender or light bearer.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, and then so Iblufia is Hebrew, and that is basically means individual of healing, because Abraham Iblufia is the individual that relaunched Kabbalism back in medieval era.
Okay.
So basically, the Kabbalah that we have today came from him.
Okay.
So that's when I was studying Kabbalah. I was like,
Yeah.
okay, wow, Iblufia is very bougie and unique, So I'm like,
Perfect.
Alistair Iblufia.
I love it.
And so, of course, Terrell, I have not actually looked up what that meant. I'm sure that'd be crazy if it means something very unique. But it's just that's the drag house I'm a part of.
Right.
So that's very cool. That's a good story.
I love the meaning.
and that's my goal, is to be a light bearer, is to bring healing to
You
others.
definitely do. Okay, so the first time I saw you.
Oh, yes, Owasso Pride.
Yes.
Owaso's very first Pride celebration, May 2021.
Yes.
And it's funny because I'm part of like a Facebook group that they were talking about Pride in Owasso. And I was like, Kathleen, we need to go to this. And I gave you like 5 minutes notice. Not really, but close.
Like the morning of.
Just like, do you want to go to this with me?
I was like, yes, I'm in the car. Hold on. I've got makeup. Let's go.
I was like, come over. I've got stuff too. Anyway, so we ended
took
up
the kids. It was so fun.
We ended up going, and my kids still to this day,
Yeah.
like, talk about it. When are we going to the Rainbow Place?
Yeah. I have 3 daughters, and my oldest is 12. And she has, friends that have come out.
Right.
She's at that age where people she knows at school are starting to come out. And this is and in our family, she has a cousin who's trans, another cousin who's gay. Like, we have multiple kids in my direct family who are members of the, Rainbow Mafia. And
Exactly.
so
Good time.
she knows.
So,
about it.
anyways, that's where we saw Alistair, and I had the best time.
It was so fun.
Did you sing Firework from Katy Perry? Was that you or the other
That was
lady?
me. That was
Okay,
me.
so
I did Firework, I did Born
Yes.
This Way, and then I did Girls Just Want to Have Fun.
yeah,
Yes.
So I was doing Firework because I love that song.
I do
so
too. In fact, that's why that's why I do it so often. I've actually gotten in trouble by my drag family. I do Katy Perry way too much, but she helped me a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you.
Well, also,
Yeah.
like
And so I have had to step back from using a lot of her stuff because, I do want to grow as an entertainer and not always
True.
rely on stuff I'm familiar with. But yes, she like, there was moments that like that song actually stopped me from one of my suicide attempts. Yeah.
I'm glad.
I'm
Yeah,
glad
yeah.
too.
And so that's why that song means so much to me. And
Yeah.
that's why if you saw, we're really close, you probably saw me tear up a lot because, it's like, but it's just like, that's why I love that song so much because it really means a lot to me.
Yeah.
And it really helped me get, like I said, it stopped me from a suicide attempt.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so glad.
And so if she's listening, Katy Perry, thank you.
All right. So, what's it mean to you to be a drag queen?
Well, it means to me to spread joy and happiness and expression, self-expression, and it does a lot of meanings actually to that to me. It's also personal meanings, it's to help my other persona to shine and be herself. But yes, mainly is to help others. I love doing songs that really mean things.
Yeah.
Like Katy Perry's.
Yeah.
Fireworks. Born This Way from Gaga.
Yes.
Or
Gaga.
This Is Me from the Greatest Showman. So it's just, I love doing songs that really help people find themselves.
Yeah.
Because that song, This Is Me, that one, because that movie came out the year prior to, actually a few months prior to when I came out. So, oh my gosh, when I was first in that movie theater watching that, I'm just bawling.
Yeah.
When that song came on, I mean, like the nasty ball, like snot, everything. And my friend at the time that was with me, he saw that, and
Yeah.
when I first came out, he was like, "Oh yeah, I kind of knew that."
Figured as much.
Yeah. So, but yeah, so it's just like that moment there, that song. And when I first came out, like I sung that almost all day, every day.
Yeah.
I know that song by heart. But yeah, it really helped me come to my truth.
So, okay, talking about the drag community, is it, in your experience, because I know sometimes you guys compete against each other.
Yes.
Is it more of a competition or is it more like a family?
It is, to some point, a sisterhood when you're competing. As far as, you still got to keep in mind that you're competing.
Yeah.
But you still, there's some queens you can trust and be friends with, but there's some that can't be. There's some that are shady. I'm not going to lie. Just like in any competition, there are some that are shady.
Sure.
But for the most part, the ones I have come across, like the one the other three competitors I went against in Miss Gay Tulsa Newcomer US of A. I went against some awesome girls, very, very friendly and very clean competitors.
That's awesome.
So I'm sure some drag queens can say other things, but for my experience, there has been nothing but positive queens I've been against.
I'm glad.
Yeah.
I figured it was both, what I mean?
Yeah. I've grown a lot to do what I did in the Tulsa competition. So they paid for my registration fees and stuff for state. So all I got to do now is come up with the funds for outfits and stuff of that nature, and because that's costly, because you got to at state you'll need to up your game basically. So you got to upgrade everything you did for a regional competition. So that's in the works at the moment. My goal is to hopefully gain a platform of some sort, so that way I can help more.
Of course.
Because I'm doing what I'm doing now, and I'm doing all that I can under the umbrella I'm under now.
Yes.
Like I'm going to start helping Toby with some things at the Equality Center for kids and young people, and then also because we want to start Drag Queen Story Hour again and stuff like that. So
what's Drag Queen Story Hour?
Basically, it's a kid-friendly drag show, but they come and hear a story. And
it's
like
so fun.
It's like basically books that are geared for kids.
Is it at the Equality Center?
Yes, it will.
Okay.
We haven't discussed dates yet and stuff because of now the new variant and all that kind of stuff. So yeah.
What was it like to grow up gay in a small town like Owasso?
Actually, I did not grow up in Owasso.
So,
I grew up in Minden, Louisiana.
Oh, was it a big small town, big town?
It's actually smaller than Owasso. Well, of course. When I was growing up, I was taught that side of me isn't to be expressed or visible. I had a very controlling biological mother, and my biological dad wasn't controlling, but he let her basically hide the pants in the family.
Yeah.
He's very submissive, so he really didn't have a lot of say in some things. Okay. But basically, she was manipulative, and she was basically the dominant of the family, and that her way or the highway, and very evangelical. That's why when I came out, they all disconnected from me. So it was already a distance because I was Jewish at that time, and they're like, "Oh, well, Jesus killed Jesus." They're like, "Really? I can't ever please you."
Jesus was okay.
Yeah, exactly. No, I know.
All right.
I said that. Oh, but no. So anyway, so they're just a bunch of mess there. So I just like I had 2 death threats from 2 brothers too. Oh. But one actually apologized.
I'm so glad.
But, he started trying to get me saved and get me under the blood of Jesus and all that. I was like, you sound more pagan than me because I don't work with blood. I'm not in blood magic.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
And that's why people need to step back and see, wow, there's a universe at work. There's many deities at work. And you just got to find what's best for you.
Yeah.
And not cause harm to others.
That's right.
Through
That's what the whole Wiccan belief is blessings for yourself but no harm to others.
Yeah,
that's great.
So mote it be. Do what makes you happy but bring no harm to others. And that's what it is. And that's what a lot of evangelical Christians need to understand and learn.
Yeah.
Rather than.
Did you go to seminary?
I did. It was.
How was that?
It was interesting. Because in the seminary I was in, they were like, you couldn't do anything. You could not do anything. You couldn't watch any movie over PG.
Oh.
Yeah.
Rarely PG-13 movie, and that was mainly just Passion of the Christ.
So what
Actually, I
kind
think that's rated R, but
It
anyway,
is rated R.
But still, you could watch that, but you couldn't watch anything. It was very rare you can watch anything.
Yeah.
so
PG-13.
sexuality
So
was,
it was like
in
it
general.
was crazy. And
Well,
it was
I wanna
like
put
2
a
years of my
little-
life I wish I got back.
I feel like
But I mean, I did learn, but it's just still. I mean,
I
because
feel
I learned
like you
what not to
did
do mainly.
because I
know
can
what-
hear a lot of that coming through
Yeah.
just out of knowledge, not necessarily like you're preaching,
Yeah.
but just
No.
knowing the like
history
history
and
and
the-
the
Yeah.
stories really
Because
well.
see, that's another thing too, is that in seminary they taught what assemblies of God people would do, and it's like, wow, I want to know what the Bible says, because I would get told all the time when I would preach is you need to quit preaching so Jewish. I'm like, well, we're kind of following somebody that was Jewish
Again.
So.
Okay.
So I'm like, okay, because I would put a lot of Jewish things into it, and they're like, and then it went to, oh my goodness, you need this is what we believe as Assemblies of God. And I was like, well, I mean, is that what the Bible says?
So it was Assembly of God you went to.
Assemblies of God, Evangelical
Okay.
Church, yes. So it's like,
Oh,
it's like,
sorry.
so it's like, they're like, so well, that's not what we believe. It's like, well, I mean, is that what the Bible says? Because
Yeah.
they would be upset that I would occasionally drink wine. And
Oh,
I'm like,
gracious!
I
oh,
know, and I'm
Jesus.
like, Jesus turned water, and I'm like, no, it was
That's
grape
his
juice.
first miracle.
I'm like, it was not, just grape juice, honey.
So-
it was,
Yeah.
it
That
was
is
wine. Jews drink
so
wine. If you've ever been to
similar.
a Jewish wedding or a Jewish festival, a Jewish holiday, whatever, you will know they love drinking wine. And it was actually Jesus and his mother were over the wine. And,
Yes,
and
at the
food
wedding in Cana.
At the wedding.
Which
That's why she was panicking, because
the wine had
This
run
is a
out,
big-
and that's
Ran
not
out.
what you can't have the wine run out.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so that would be a big no-no in the
Yep.
community, and you would be shunned.
Yep.
Like, oh, wow, don't ever let them plan your wedding again,
Yep.
Um,
So that is
that's
very
why
similar.
Jesus did water and wine.
That's very similar to the way I was raised as a Mormon, which that was very like the way you're talking about, like no PG-13, no rated R, no alcohol,
Yeah.
that kind of stuff was basically how I was raised too.
No
Well, see, what's
tea.
crazy is
Yeah.
that you couldn't do it in seminary, but outside of seminary, it was
You were
your own
fine.
destruction. It's like its own
Own discretion.
discretion. There we go.
Yep.
And it's like, huh?
Well,
Like what? So it's like that doesn't make sense. It was basically mind control. It was also just many different things that were just very, very. When I look back at it now, I'm just like, wow, that was pretty crazy and evil.
yeah.
It's just ridiculous. And
Yeah.
it's like, one, it says in Leviticus, man shall not lay with young man.
Yeah, it's
Meaning-
taken out of context.
Meaning a pedophilia type
Yes.
thing. Because in ancient Egypt, they would have male prostitutes.
Yep.
And they would have temple prostitutes. So it was the Hebrew deity telling the Jewish priests, that's why it's in the book of Leviticus, for the Levites, not the common person, not for the not for the general public. It was only for the Levitical priesthood to not take up the practices they saw in Egypt. So basically, he had to cleanse them of what they saw. So he said, "Don't do that. Don't do what you saw in Egypt. Don't marry your cousin. Don't marry your sister, because they did that in Egypt."
Yep.
Oh,
yeah.
they had a lot of
Game of Thrones.
and so, with that being said, it's that verse in Leviticus is taken out of context, because it's talking
Yeah.
about priests should not have young prostitutes
boys. Yeah.
in their temples,
Yeah.
in the Jewish temples. So it was basically unlearning them what they saw in Egypt. Because, like I said,
Yeah,
in Egypt
that's
they would
good.
have incest.
Yeah.
Especially in the royal families.
Yeah.
That's why a lot of the
weird.
pharaohs they have found in their DNA studies and stuff like that, they have found that they had a lot of
like
King Tut.
King
didn't
Tut
look-
was.
King
Oh no,
Tut-
he had a lot of things going on.
King Tut did not look pretty like we have on the little his coffin.
His all kinds of
He had
things
he
going
had,
on. Severe scoliosis. I think he had a club foot. He had like almost
really bad buck teeth.
Yeah, but
you know?
really bad underbite to the
Yeah,
point
it
where he
was-
almost couldn't like chew food. His head was shaped very strange. Very strange.
Yeah.
So
Like-
it was like
Like he had no forehead. His head stopped right here. It was very strange.
Oh.
yeah.
He
and so
had
it's like,
so much.
It was not like what we see in
Yeah.
movies. And it's not like what we see in descriptions of like the
Hieroglyphics.
hieroglyphics.
Yeah.
Hieroglyphics. That's
Yeah.
it. And then also the coffin. Oh, he's so pretty in the coffin. And you go, oh no, he's not. Put the coffin back on.
Yep.
But that's,
Makeup can't fix that.
Yeah, no makeup or wig can fix that, or outfits. So,
Yeah.
That's funny.
so that's what he was saying to his people. It was like, hey, look,
Right.
this is things you don't do because you don't want to look like that.
Yep.
You know?
Yep.
So, but it's just like, but they just, people take it out of the context because they want to push, just like Sodom and Gomorrah. It does not mean, it was, that's why I can't wait for that movie, 1946.
Is it 46? I said 41. 1946.
Yeah, 1946. That's coming out. That's, if anyone can donate to that, go to 1946, the movie. The movie 1946.com, or I think it's .org, one of the two.
I think
you'll find it.
Soon. Do they or no?
I don't know if they have a date yet, but I know they're trying to get that date. It's just they're trying to get more funds.
Yeah.
Because they're trying to make this as nonprofit as possible. This is not. They're not making money off this. They're doing this to show these verses were altered and changed.
Yeah.
In 1946. And beyond that, it was manipulation of the Roman Catholic Church and other things to try and to make things what they were not to be.
Right.
Yeah.
Because the common person couldn't have a Bible, so guess what? We're going to say the Bible says this. You don't know because you don't have a Bible, so you have to take the word of the monk, the priest, the cardinal for it. And
it's
so
damaging.
And that's what a lot of people do today. They don't read it for themselves. They let the pastor in the pulpit say whatever, and they just, oh yes, Pastor so-and-so said this. Well, he was caught doing meth too. And
Or there's pastors.
No, that's actually what my mama and my biological, he was not only caught doing meth, but also caught sleeping with a guy.
That's what I was going to say. There's
So
many.
here, Pastor so-and-so said this, and my biological family just hung on his every word and hung on his coat. And all of a sudden, boom. Within literally a week later of me coming out, he was caught with meth and cooking meth, selling meth, and he was also caught with laying with a man. And so he had to go to conversion therapy, and he had to go through a lot of stuff to become a pastor again and all that kind of stuff. But it's so sad because it's like, I know what he's dealing with.
Yeah.
I know the reason he chose meth is to
Self-medicate.
numb and self-medicate.
Yeah.
And I didn't do none of that, but I did
Good
do
job.
other things. I did do other things. I hurt myself. I cried myself to sleep. I tried suicide attempts several times. 2 or 3 of them were almost successful if it wasn't for a friend. But still, it's like, with that being said, I know what he's going through. But yet he cannot break away and be who himself, because he's of another generation that's very old and backwards, and old mindsets and medieval mindsets and just all this kind of stuff. So sadly, he may never be free. He may never be the person he's truly to be. And so, but I know what he was dealing with. I know a lot of ministers that are dealing with it. You know, either they told me or I could just see it. You know, because you can see it if you look hard enough and if you know the signs.
Yeah.
But it's just like, it's sad because, they're dealing with inner turmoil because they've been taught, evil doctrine that's not true. Yes, I actually have a friend, a very good friend, that he was gay and he married a lesbian.
Oh, but did it end up good? Did they end up
they're still together, but I can tell they're not happy.
Oh,
I can tell, you can
never
tell,
mind then.
Yeah.
Sorry for that.
You can tell they're not happy. They do what they can to make themselves look happy, but I know I've gotten messages from him, after I came out. Oh my God, thanks, congratulations, and then dick pics.
Oh dear.
I'm like, you're definitely living a lie, and he's like, well, Mom.
Well, with that, we have a really good next question.
Yeah. When did you realize, and how did you realize that you were gay?
I was actually age 6. When I would be playing dress up, I'd always wanted to be the girl. And then also, when my mom wasn't home, I'd get other costume jewelry, and I'd do drag, and I didn't even know what drag was.
You had a very prolific career.
Yeah, got her jewelry out, got her heels out, got her scarves out, and put it on. I mean, I could look back at it, I'm more feminine than anything else. And I loved Pretty Princess. That was my favorite game.
Oh my gosh.
I would play it with my sister just because it was playing, with my sister, playing a game.
Somebody's
with her.
Got to entertain her.
Yeah. But it was more for me than anything else. And so I would say, it's like I said, 6, because I knew I liked my friends that were boys at the time. When I was around like 10 or so, me and a friend did some stuff. And then so for also at 11, and then at 13. So I knew. But I kept harboring those feelings and oppressing those feelings because I was told that's not right. That's evil. That's not right. You don't do that. I even tried. I tried dating girls. Actually, still I'm real good friends with 2 of those that I've dated. Actually, one is very pro for me in my drag career, and she's going to come visit soon.
That's great.
She is like, her and I talk, once a week.
I love that.
And she is so accepting of who I am, and she's actually relearning things and unlearning things.
Yes.
Because of what she was taught in the church too.
Yeah. I'm unlearning so much.
And I just love that, because sometimes when we're talking, she'll ask questions or whatever, but, she knew I was gay when we were dating. She's like, yes, I knew you were hiding it, and yes, I would have helped you hide it. Mm-hmm. She was one of those that would have done that. Yeah. And she would have, I don't think she'd let me do anything outside of if we had gotten married. Right. But she still would have understood and definitely supported me in any way. With that being said, like I said, I tried doing, even having sex with women. It didn't work. Yeah. I mean, it didn't work for me. I didn't get turned on. I tried. Believe me, because you're taught, oh, this is the right way. This is the right way, But it's like, hey, I couldn't do it. I
couldn't have sex with a woman either. And it's like, I'm not trying to mean like be funny. I'm being honest. Like, let's like as straight people consider what we're asking of people that are gay, or what evangelical Christians have asked of gay people. It's. And you said you tried, and that makes me sad.
I even tried. I tried conversion therapy.
Yeah.
And guess what? I came out.
Yeah.
I am who I am, and I have never been happier.
I'm so glad.
When I finally accepted who I was streaming with tears. I was happy. I'm happy today. I haven't found a guy yet, but I will.
Yeah. Wherever you are, he's here for you. Yes. We're ready. We're putting out the feels. You can't be weird, though. Yeah. Not like a bad weird. You can be a good weird.
I mean, we're all a little weird.
Yeah, we all are in some way, form, or fashion.
So.
But yeah, I'm just looking for, a guy that will support me in drag.
Of course.
Sadly, that is a hang up for some guys. Because, they don't, it's just a hang up for them sometimes. But it's like,
why do you think?
I think because some may believe, honestly, it's they may think eventually, because there are a lot of queens that have transitioned, and then there's nothing against that. Of course. All power to you, honey.
Yeah.
But I think some of the guys may think that maybe along the way, the drag queen may consider, oh, well, this is more me than it is.
It's a fear.
Yeah.
As an entertainer, this is more me as a person. Okay. So then they got a fear probably because they don't want to get. It's a complicated thing. Yeah. It's like in heterosexual dating, there's complications. There's complications in homosexual dating. There's complications in anything, because it's just there are a lot of fears, because we get a lot of fears from how we were raised and then so we see maybe mom and dad fighting or not a very good marriage, so we have a fear and fears grow within us and if we don't address those fears, it can cause us to get into some bad situations. And
of course,
I've had some guys that were, some were good at it dated and some that were not, because they used me in a lot of different ways. So, but it's like a thing that we all have to look at and just, therapy is a very good thing. That
I feel go to therapy.
To and it's not, because now in society, it's not like it was before. Now, now a lot of insurance covers that, thankfully. Back then it didn't, and back then also you're considered weak if you do it, and it's not. You're just I feel more strong if you can admit that you need therapy. You're more strong than those that are not admitting it because you need it. I needed it. I still need it. I still do it once a week or
I'm
every
in
other
therapy.
Week.
It's
used
like
therapy many times.
Yeah, and it's like it's very. I have several friends that are in it because I encourage them to do it, and they have thanked me ever since.
Yeah.
Because it is what we all need. We all need healing in some way, form, or fashion.
Everybody
and you can't just do it in with a friend.
I mean that's nice, but it's
nice
not
to have a
therapy.
friend.
It's not the same.
It's not a professional therapist that went to college, went to school to know how to walk you through healing and shadow work.
Yeah,
There's a lot of things we got to do. We got to do shadow work.
Yep.
So
when do you feel most yourself?
When I feel most myself. When I have a handsome man next to me and I'm sleeping. I was kidding.
Hey, that's a good answer.
So that's fun.
No. Oh my goodness. I just feel myself all the time now. Like when I am in drag, I do feel more of connection because that was the side of me I really hid in the closet.
Yeah.
You know, as one of my best friends says, "Oh, you didn't come out of the closet; you brought your closet to the world."
That's so nice.
I'm like, yeah, because honestly, I have more drag stuff than I do anything else now. And
Nice.
I need to work on my, dating clothes, because or going out with friends' clothes because I'm like, I wore that shirt last week and the week before, and I don't have much else because oh my god, most of it's drag. Because
Yep,
That's fun.
So yeah, I would say like I said, I film most of myself all the time because
I'm so glad.
I love that for you.
A lot of people like when I do, go on dates, I look like Bored George a lot. A lot of people say that.
Oh, I can see it. Oh my goodness.
You need to wear eyeliner.
You do.
Oh, I do.
Yes.
I think I still have it on from the show.
I feel like you
I can
have a
see
little bit. The sun was shining in your face. And
Yeah,
I was
because
like,
I
ooh.
use the charcoal eyeliner.
Yeah.
It doesn't,
Smear down.
or whatever. And we sweat a lot doing drag.
Oh, yeah.
Or we
bet.
may have emotional moments.
For sure.
So
Charcoal eyeliner.
Yeah,
You need to look into this.
I've got some. I can talk to you about it.
Okay.
But yeah, so like I said, I feel
Got
this
that down.
myself all the time. I mean, like, I do feel more of a connection, like I said, when I'm in drag and doing entertainment because I love entertaining. I've always done that. Like I said before, I was a clown, professional clown. I was in theater. I did a lot of movies, background extras, or
Oh, that's fun.
I actually was Jack Black's stand-in for the Year One movie.
Oh.
Yeah.
Jack Black.
Yeah, I love Jack Black.
Did you get to meet him?
I did. I got to hang out with him in our waiting
I
tent.
love him.
He was so much fun.
That's amazing.
I love him.
Yeah.
You're like a whole person. Sorry.
I hope so. I'm just kidding.
I don't know what I was trying to say.
But yeah, it was a lot of fun. I hope to start doing movies again in the future too.
That's
that's
so
just my passion. I love entertaining people. I love either whether it's in drag or whether it's in movies, theater, whatever. I love it.
I mean, you've got a talent for it. We
Yeah.
saw you perform, and here we are. We were like,
We fell in love with you.
get it. Talk. We got to talk. Yeah.
So fun.
So, any more questions?
I have one last question about yourself, and it is: what would today you say to 10-year-old you?
Oh my goodness.
If you cry, it's okay.
Well, I would actually. I love Eureka O'Hara saying, "Be yourself to free yourself."
Okay.
She's a drag queen I love and look up to too. I would say that because I wasn't told that. I was told to harbor your feelings, harbor your emotions, can't be yourself, can't put on dresses, can't put on heels, can't put this on, can't put that on. That's why I did it when my family wasn't home.
Yeah.
And I was either being babysitted by my grandmother and she didn't really pay attention much, or, whatever, and, my older siblings. With that being said, I mean, I would put on all that stuff and do my own little show, and act like I was running down the runway and coming down the runway and all that, doing a little, whatever. And
That's cute.
you would think that when my family does because me and my brothers did this, Christmas reenactment, like the biblical story, and I wanted to be Mary. You think they would have a clue of
Maybe an inkling.
of who I am? Because it was true, and I was, I was wanting to be Mary.
I wanted to be married too.
Yeah, so
I was like, don't give me no baby. I want the halo.
I was like, okay, let's do this. So I mean, they let me do it, and of course, family said, "Oh, that's just acting." It's just he's not really this.
Yeah.
And deep down inside, I mean, I was bawling myself to sleep that night because this is my true self, and that's not really him.
Yeah.
It's just him acting. So
That's hurtful to hear.
it is, and that's one thing my goal is to be a light to those who have none.
Yeah.
To be a light to those like at Pride. That's why I want to make a lot of drag shows geared for kids and young people, because they can't come to the bars and see self-expression. They can't come to them. And so I want to take it to them. That's why I loved that I was on the committee with Owasso Pride.
That was fantastic.
And that, I'm excited I'm on next year's committee. And I'm also excited of our, success that we had, because it was a great success.
It was so good.
And what
It
we're
was
going to
such
do
a great
even
time.
next year, even bigger and better.
Wow,
And
I'm
I just seeing those kids run up and giving me those. I wish I was in their shoes when I was their age.
Yeah.
I wish it would, wow. Just imagine the less heartache I would have gone through.
Yeah.
No suicidal thoughts or even attempts.
Right.
I mean, just the whole 9 yards. I mean,
Yeah.
I would have self-expressed myself and accepted myself. So I would tell my 10-year-old self that, be yourself to free yourself.
Yeah.
Just back then slap my parents in the face and they wake up. This is your kid.
Yeah.
If you didn't want, that's what I tell people all the time. If you didn't want a gay son or a gay daughter,
don't have kids.
Don't have kids.
Yep.
Don't,
Yep.
because there's so many
Sweet,
that.
sad.
Yeah, it is sweet and sad all at the same time.
Like,
but it's true, because it's like you cannot control who your kids are.
No.
So true.
And how the creator makes them.
Right.
It's just you can't. It's DNA.
Amen.
It's all that stuff.
Yep.
It's who they are, and if you deny their true identity, they will grow up resenting themselves and you, and they will grow up in hatred and anger and resentment and all these different things, and then hate themselves, and that's what it was. I had no self-love. I mean, that's why I think I was in theater a whole lot, because I was able to express myself,
Right.
and doing all the things I did and stuff of that nature, because I wasn't able to be myself. I wasn't able to be me. And so I had to do it in other ways.
Yeah.
I could wear makeup in theater because you have to, so the lights won't wash you out,
Right. That's
so
fun.
that was my excuse for always wearing makeup on theater and stuff, Yeah, I would be told I'm doing a little bit too more blush, or my eyeliner's a little darker than it should be, but I was like, whatever. I was like, I want the people in the back to see me, okay?
Everyone needs to have a piece of this.
So that's how I was able to get by a lot in life. Is through that. So that's why I think I have such a passion for theater and being in movies or doing things like that. But it's the fact that now I can be my true self in drag, and be that 10-year-old, 8-year-old, 6-year-old boy, that put on his mother's pearls and costume jewelry and high heels and scarves, and I then at that time I didn't know what drag was.
Yeah.
But it was maybe in a past life I knew what drag was. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's just like I knew that this was me. I was more comfortable in a lot of things I did like that. More. I hate that we have this thing now. That's what I loved about Queen. How.
Don't even start, because I'm obsessed from the
Seriously.
moment I came out of the womb.
Me too.
Yeah.
If I could go back in time, it would be Live Aid. That's where I'd go.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
sorry. Back to Queen. Tell us all
ahead.
the things.
No, so I just think.
Tell us about Freddie.
I think Freddie. was awesome that he would gender bend clothing
Yes.
so much.
Yes.
So much.
And that's why I wish would be in today. There's if you want to wear a crop top, be yourself to free yourself is what I would have told myself.
I
I love that so much. I agree.
And now I know I love Eureka O'Hara. She is awesome, and I love the fact that she's non-binary like me, and she would say the same things. He would say the same things. They would say the same things as I'm saying.
Yeah.
Because there is more to someone than I guess you could say, like what the Native Americans would say is to a spirited individual.
Yes.
Indigenous individuals would say that people like me, Eureka O'Hara, and others were two spirited individuals.
I've heard that.
Two spirits, one body.
Yep.
Yeah. That's beautiful.
So
Where do you think we go when we die?
Ooh.
That is my opinion, and I do feel that we have. My shaman told me this, is that there's this big. She actually, what's crazy is she passed away and then she came back.
Okay. She
completely. They told her she was dead. They were putting the sheet over her face.
Body, like
Wow.
her current
And
body.
so her current body, but she came back because the universe told her she wasn't done.
Crazy.
Yeah, and so she came back and she explained about how all these spirits had these orbs around them, as what we would call halos, and they were all around, and some had, it was like a rings of a tree. How. That's how you can tell how old of a tree is the rings of a tree. That's how she was saying about different spirits she came across.
That's so cool.
In the
I
next life. And so she says, we go either to the world or other universes and stuff like that. That's why, scientists even say if you have dreams that are very vivid, it's probably most likely you're visiting yourself in another universe or dimension.
Do you think that reincarnation is a thing?
I do believe that.
All right, last question. What are some resources someone who is part of the LGBTQIA community could use? Hotlines, websites, Equality Center. If you want to plug any of that you have on the top of your head.
At the top of my head is the Tulsa Equality Center. They have a lot of information. They even have free counselors.
I didn't know this.
There's counselors that volunteer their time to help. There's many resources they have to help those that have HIV or get tested for that. To a low or no cost. Resources to get on PrEP if you need it. I mean, just tons of resources that you would need in the community. You know, I love the Equality Center, how they are doing that and helping a lot of people out.
Well, we want to thank you so much for coming, for sharing with us, and for educating us and fun.
Yes.
All right. Thank you guys for listening. We'll talk to y'all next time.
Bye.
Bye. I do that too.
That's what we do.
I'm a bye.
We do.